Hi, my name is Stan, the Annuity Man. I'm licensed in all 50 states. I'm known as America's Annuity Agent because I tell the brutal truth about these products, which needs to happen. I have a t-shirt on that says nothing in moderation. I do nothing in moderation, and it includes educating people about annuities. I don't rest. I do podcasts, I write blogs, I write articles for national publications, I do YouTube videos every single day, Monday through Friday. I am on a mission to educate every single person out there on annuities, and if annuities fit their specific situation. Let's just be upfront. I do sell annuities. That's how I make my living. I'm the top guy out here. But that doesn't mean you need an annuity. In fact, there's a lot of cases where you don't. And when people call me, and I always ask them the two questions: what do you want the money to contractually do, and when do you want those contractual guarantees to happen? From those two answers, I'd say 30% of the time when people schedule an appointment with me, and you can do that at theannuityman.com, I say, hey, under those parameters of what you gave me, your goals, you should never buy an annuity, period. I am fine with saying that. And if we have a conversation, I'll say the same thing to you. But what I want to talk to you about today is taking responsibility for your money. Now, I know we live in a world where there's advisors, and you go to your bank and the banker's trying to sell you something, and you go to the Bad Chicken Dinner Seminar and the annuity guy's trying to sell something. And I also understand that there's the Vanguards and Fidelities and all these Schwabs and all these online services where you can manage your own money and take responsibility for your own money. But it's a lot bigger than that. It's almost like your health. You have to take responsibility of being healthy, eating well, exercising, making sure as you get older that you're checking off all of those boxes personally so that you can live a very good life. Same thing applies when it comes to annuities. And what makes me mad is to see people not taking responsibility with their own money. You worked hard. Most people that are watching this, and I'm assuming that's you, right now, you're watching, you're taking your time out, and I appreciate that, but you've worked hard for your money. Years and years and decades and scrimped and saved in 401ks and the matching of the employers and putting up with crap at work and not liking your job or whatever. And you've laid it on the line for you and your family. You've laid it on the line, and you're at the finish line. You're there in retirement or thinking about retirement, and you've got this large amount of money. Don't just hand it to somebody and say, I trust them. It might work out, but you know what? It might not. And you do not have time to make a mistake. When you're looking at retirement, and there's 10,000 baby boomers retiring every single day, well, hitting that retirement age, 65. I guess a lot of them aren't because they can't. But they're hitting that 65-year-old age every single day. 10,000 people a day, 7 days a week. That's a lot. It's a demographic tidal wave, period. When you're at that stage or you're close to that stage, think of it like running 4 laps around a track for a mile. You're at lap 3.5. You're there. You can see the finish line. You're getting ready to put your head across it and break the tape. You cannot afford to make a mistake. You cannot afford to trust that person across the table from you that says, oh, I got this. I've got the risk for you. I'll manage that risk for you. Heard that before? Okay? You have to take responsibility to do your homework. You have to take responsibility to understand your risk tolerance. That's a big one. Do we all want to have the next Apple or buy the next, what was the one that just hit the Beyond Meats, that veggie burger, and it went up like 100%? Of course we do. We all want that. We all want to be that Gordon Gekko person. But you're not that person, and I'm not that person. You've never been that person. I've never been that person. Stop trying to be that person. From here on in, when you take responsibility for your money, what I'm going to tell you to do is a baseball analogy. I need you to hit bunt singles. I don't need you to hit singles. I don't need you to hit doubles. I certainly don't need you swinging for triples. And holy crap, do I not want you hitting home runs, because you can't go backwards. Remember the 3.5 lap scenario? You're right there. You need to hit bunt singles. You're at the principal preservation stage of your life. You don't need to lose any money, you just need to make some. Or you don't need to lose any money, you just need more income, guaranteed. And make sure that I can do contractually that if you die, if your Learjet hits the mountain, 100% of any unused money goes to the beneficiaries. Why? Why is that important? Because you've worked hard for it. You've worked hard for it. You don't want the evil annuity company to keep a penny of it unless you just say, Stan, that's what I want because I hate my family. I'm down with that too, but most people, 99%, don't want that. You've worked too hard for it. I don't care if it's $50,000, $200,000, $400,000, $10 million. If it's a lot of money to you, then it's a lot of money. There's no minimums when you work with Stan the Annuity Man because why? I grew up in rural North Carolina with zero money. My family didn't have money. They worked in the mills and they were farmers. That's it. That's where I come from. And the reason I even got in the business of financial services, and yes, I was with Dean Witter and Payne Weber and Morgan Stanley and UBS. The reason that I was in the business is because I did not understand how all these other people were buying stocks and all that stuff, and my whole family wasn't. Who are those other people and why aren't we doing that? That's why I was in it. And I've been in it from day one. From the second I stepped out of college, that's what I've done. I've taken responsibility for the money. I learned about it. I need you to do the same thing. I need you to tap into our resources, whether it's these YouTube videos, my podcasts that I release every week, my 6 books that I'll send you for free, the blog post that I put on my site at theannuityman.com, having a non-pressure conversation with me, set an appointment to do that. You need to get educated, period. You need to take responsibility for your money. You took the responsibility to build it up. Now you've got one more step. Take the responsibility of that lump sum to make sure that you are doing the right thing for you, the right thing for your family, the right thing for your legacy, period. And I know you know this. I know you're saying, Stan, why are you yelling at me? Because I see people make mistakes. And when you get to the finish line, when you're at lap 3.5, you can't make mistakes. You can't take those risks anymore. Just like an old person like me, I can't run up and down a basketball court anymore. Why? Because my knees would blow out. Same thing when it comes to money. You can't do the things you used to do when you were young, when you had time to make it back. You need to take responsibility for that. You need to shift your thinking. You need to shift from taking risk, shouldering risk, to transferring the risk, right? You do. You know that's true. That's why you're listening to it. That's why that me and you are talking right now. So with that, I encourage you to use all the resources that we offer at theannuityman.com under no pressure, under no obligation, under no cost. Use our calculators. Go through the gamut of annuities. Learn it all. And you might say, hey, you know what? I don't need an annuity. That's fine. But at least do your research. Don't take someone's word for it. Would you take someone's word for it? If you got, let me end with this. If someone told you that you had cancer, if you had a doctor that said you had cancer, and I can say that because I'm a melanoma survivor. Okay, so I'm not just whistling Dixie here. If someone said that, are you just going to take that person's word? Are you going to go see somebody else and say, you know what? Do I have cancer? Are you going to get a second opinion on that? Are you going to verify? Are you going to do your homework? Are you going to take responsibility? What's the difference when it comes to your money? What's the difference? There is no difference. And you know what? It's as severe and as important for you to take that type of attitude with your money because, as you know, all those people behind you, the wife, the kids, everybody, they're dependent on it. I'm Stan the Annuity Man. Here's what can happen when you make the wrong decision. Okay, let's just take just recent events where markets are just so volatile. You know, I told someone the other day that when I was working with the big firms, the Morgan Stanleys, Dean Witters, UBS, Payne Weber, things that happened in a year back then are happening in a day right now. I mean, 500 points moves, you'll see it in a day. Back then, we'd see it in a year, maybe if we were lucky. So how can you make a mistake? I had a person call the other day, and this was tragic. This was a tragic story, and I kind of kicked myself a little bit, but part of what I do as the Annuity Man is I do not high pressure anybody. I present you with the facts, I present you with the best quotes, I educate you, and then I leave you alone to make a decision on your terms and on your time frame. I never push, ever, ever. And this person and I had been talking. And he was wanting to, in this case, buy an immediate annuity and set up a lifetime income stream for his family. And it was a big decision because it was a big number. I mean, it was a big number. And I said, hey, take your time. Take your time on that, all right? Because it is a big decision whether you want to transfer the risk or shoulder the risk. So what happened? Markets, get hit, etc. He calls me crying, grown man, 75, crying, said, and was mad at me for not making him buy the annuity. And I said, just slow down there. We'll call him Chester because I'll call everybody Chester. So slow down, Chester. I don't do that. I don't push people into anything. It's your decision. He had lost $600,000 in the market dip. He was 75. He didn't have the time to make that up. Now, hopefully, markets will return so he can get part of that, but I don't think so. Maybe they will, but I think he sold a lot of it. He panicked and sold. So he lost $600,000 in his stock portfolio. I'm not saying stocks are bad. I'm not saying mutual funds are bad. I'm not saying ETFs are bad. But there's a time and place for everything. There's a time and place for risk tolerance. There's a time and place to take some of that risk off the table. And that's just a horrific story where a grown man just kind of saw it all go away, poof. So what I'm encouraging you to do is take responsibility for your money. Take a look at your portfolio. How much risk are you shouldering and how much risk are you transferring? And that's not some annuity pitch. I'm not pitching you an annuity. I'm pitching you to take responsibility, because I don't want another grown man calling me crying. I don't want that. But you know what? It's going to happen, because everybody wants to be the big hitter. Everybody wants that extra couple percentage points. I'm telling you, it's not worth it. What's worth it is lifestyle. And that's what I want you to focus on. And I'll see you on the next Stan the Annuity Man video.